Welcome to the Point of Difference Rugby League podcast. I'm your host, Dave, and today we're going back in the day with a Canterbury and Kiwi legend. He's a proud Papanui Tiger. It's the one and only Eddie Kerrigan. How are you, man?
I'm good, Dave. Thanks a lot for having me here.
Oh,
Looking
mate.
forward to it.
Finally got you here. It's taken us ages to finally get this over the line, but it was so good bumping into you at the Canterbury Rugby League breakfast they put on the other day for the test match.
Yes,
Hey,
great.
Got to sit next to Mel Meninga, mate.
Yeah, I did. Sat at the same table as Mel, and that was a real bonus, you know.
I bet.
Yeah. I've shaken Mel's hand quite a few years ago when I worked when I was over in Australia working in Canberra.
Okay.
And I met up with him there, but he didn't remember me, of course. I'm just another face in the crowd for him, you know. He's a popular man and a great man.
He is.
He really could, you know.
Like one of the legends. So awesome to have test match footy back in Christchurch.
Oh, wasn't that awesome?
What a week.
Oh man, it's been a great week for rugby league.
Didn't get the result, but just the buzz in the city I thought was amazing.
I'm quite happy with the result. You know, not because we lost, but the way we performed.
Yes.
I think we've got to hold our heads really high.
Okay.
And hopefully it'll just run on from there and this weekend and final.
Yeah, man.
See what happens.
Let's hope so. All right. So, man, what have you been up to in recent times? Like you've still been around Christchurch, but what are you doing for work these days? What are you doing?
I run a gym. I ran a gym at one of the local clubs, and I started the gym 2001. What I did was when I left rugby league, I worked for rugby league for a wee while, and then I got headhunted by New Zealand Touch, and I worked for them for a few years. And then when I left there, I bought into the gym business.
Okay.
It's still in the fitness line. I still get to see lots of people I know and are involved in the industry, you know. Okay. So, and I like it. It's good, and it's surrounded by positive people.
That's nice, man.
That's the good one.
I'm all about positivity.
Yeah,
man. Love being happy. It's good.
Yes, it is. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, wicked, man. So, so let's rewind the clock. Eddie Kerrigan, it's time to go all the way back.
I know.
Where did you grow up in Christchurch, and what was life like for you kicking around as a young fella?
Yeah, as a young fella, I was born and bred in Shirley. I didn't start playing rugby league till I was about 10, and it was just through one of my friend's dads who said, "Hey, you should be coming along and playing." And so I went along there and found a skill I didn't have.
Okay.
In fact, I take my hat off to Babe. That was my mate's dad. He bought me my first pair of football boots. I played in the sand shoes up till then.
Okay.
You know, winter sport, and still scored tries. So we come from a pretty basic background, but hey, didn't do any harm.
No.
Makes your character, doesn't it?
Yeah, man.
Character building.
Yeah.
That's right. And then so I was with Shirley for 4 years, I suppose, and then the first year that we have a chance of getting into the schoolboy reps or into the national side, they didn't have a team, so I went on over to Papanui on loan.
Yep.
Didn't go back.
No. So what was it about playing when you were with Shirley? Let's just stick with that for a bit. That you enjoyed about the game? Was it the comradeship? Was it smashing blokes over?
No. We were too young then, Dave. But it was just good boys fun, like it was. It was really, I just enjoyed it and broadened my horizons about knowing about other people,
Yep.
And meeting other people and of course went on there from representative stuff, and it just keeps going and rolling on,
Yeah.
And rugby league has been a huge part of our whole family's life.
Yes.
But in particular, for our family, it's like really
all
good.
of you played.
Yeah, that's
pretty
right.
much, eh?
Yeah.
So I had Paul Truscott on the show a while back.
Right.
And he showed me a photo of yourself, Mark Broadhurst, and Paul Truscott, all playing for was it under 9s or 10s Canterbury side?
10s, yeah.
What was it right. like? I know you wouldn't have known back then. You were all going to go on to be Kiwis, but
we didn't, legends, mate. But back in those days, there were players. Players were obviously at different levels, Yes. I never thought I was a top level player. I was always in awe of the like Trussie. He was a real leader. He was a leader. That's right. So, but as time went on, everybody found their niche and got going. Back in those days, it was like crazy. But when I come over and play for Papanui, I've been fairly lucky because I got integrated straight into a really good team.
Okay.
that particular 15-year-old team, that was 3 Kiwis coming to that with the likes of Broady, Mark Broady, David Field, and myself. And in one club team, well, that makes a huge difference.
That's not bad.
That's not bad.
Club.
I always mention David about he was the captain of the Papanui side, the Canterbury side, the South Island side, and he never lost a game. And then in the tournament, he didn't get picked for the team because of political stuff, I reckon.
Okay.
And but he got played for the rest, and they beat us. He dropped the goal and beat us. So he didn't captain a losing side all year.
That's amazing.
It's amazing. It's a great story,
I love that stuff.
And it didn't take anything away from what I was. What I was achieving for myself and the team. I was doing my bit.
Yeah.
But no, that was a great time back then. Yeah, excellent.
So that's when, you did transfer to Papua Nui, and that's when, did you start thinking, I'm going to take this quite serious now? Is that when things got a bit more it's time to really kick on?
Well, you're more affected by the people around you. The people that really inspired me were older, of course. Coaches.
Yeah.
Alan Amott from Papua Nui's an ex-Kiwi, and him and his brothers coached me, and it was and they just kept pushing me and going, "Come on, you got to do more, do that," because they could see it. I couldn't see it. I was just playing, and then when I got to about 10s, the photo that you mentioned, when I first played for Canterbury, then I thought, I'm actually quite good, it's quite good, and I wouldn't let it go to the fact that I wouldn't play rugby at school, for that reason, because they wanted me to play, of course.
Was that the big divide back then?
There was rugby league wasn't even considered a sport,
Wow.
But I managed to stay away from that, and I played indoor basketball and ran a bit of Harriers and did everything else bar rugby.
Everything bar rugby, my man.
Not that I hate rugby, but it's just that's the choice I wanted to make.
Yep.
And one year I played, I played indoor basketball because we played midweek, but we won the competition. Ended up playing Saturday afternoons.
Okay.
The same time as I played rugby league. For 1 year, I played both.
Wow.
Rugby league, off the field, off to the court, play basketball, back. And, of course, my mum, she was running me around all the time, you know.
What a legend.
But I was as fit as a buck rat, I can tell you that. Yeah, so...
Did you train much as outside of your regular club training?
Not really.
No?
Not really. Not
Didn't
that
need to?
Well, as kids you don't. You got so much
everywhere.
energy, And... but later on, as soon as we started getting some representative honours under our belt, we were advised you need to be doing some, and the higher the level of the grade that we achieved, more pressure came on.
Absolutely.
to at the end, they were posting me programs, probably email or texting these days, but they had to post them.
Would have sent them by carrier pigeon back then.
More than likely. But no, that was quite good. And but you just knew if you didn't do it, the other people were doing it.
Someone else looking for your spot.
That's right. Opportunities. And if you want to hang on to something, then you do the yards.
You got to go for the
do the yards. Yes.
So were you always playing in the back line back in those days? A centre, winger? Did you play a bit of fullback or halves or anything?
No, always played in the centres pretty much.
Okay.
Only because I was. Luckily, I had that Polynesian genes running through me.
You have Samoan heritage.
Yes, I am. Yep.
Amazing.
And I'm considered. I used to call myself a quarter, but I'm more than a quarter because my grandparents. One was a Samoan, the other one's American Samoan. So it's pretty much the same.
Yeah.
We've been back and checked it out.
It's the same, just on different islands.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But it's. We've been quite lucky about that,
Amazing.
Yeah, it is a collision sport, isn't it?
Absolutely, man. Also, that would have benefited you greatly, especially, a lot of the islanders playing the forwards, they're scary as to tackle, but you've got the speed, the strength and power, so you're out wide.
Yeah, I know. That was a bit of and I played all my football pretty much in the centres club level.
Okay.
All my representative football on the wing.
Okay.
Yeah, so, but I used to just change and played around. Although I did... when I was coaching, I did spend quite a bit of time in the forwards.
Right.
Well, you can't run a team from out the back line.
No, I
pretty
guess
much.
so. I guess
at our team anyway. I just put that. I couldn't run our team like that. So yeah.
So 1969, you make the schoolboy Kiwis. So who did you play against, and what was it like to get your first national jersey?
Oh, mate, it was. I think Mum cried more than I did.
Oh, brilliant!
We were so happy.
Good on you, Mum.
Yeah. Well, that year, I lost my dad. Or Dad died in May of '69, and this was in like October or something like that. Wow. So that was later on in the year. Yeah. So it was a real achievement. Something that later on in life I realised that was a real motivator for me.
It would have been, you could have gone either way on that, like tough, you could either really, obviously tough times, but then use it as a motivation to say, I'm going to get that jersey in honour of my dad type of thing.
Yeah, that's right. And Mum was so good. Mum, she brought up 6 boys on her own.
It's incredible.
And,
especially with you guys.
We're all good.
Larger than life characters,
Yeah, that's right. And I'm one of the smallest.
Oh, my God.
So, yeah. The 15s, it was great. That was the first one. Yeah. And I didn't realise, I was happy at the time, but now, well, not so much now, but quite a few years ago, I look back, I thought that was a really good launch pad, And for young people to achieve that young, those people push on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, those people push on.
Do you remember who you played, or?
Oh, we just played against a tournament rest team.
Yes.
Yeah, which David Field played. He was the captain of that.
Okay.
And we played at the showgrounds here, and and he dropped a goal and beat us.
Unbelievable.
It was unbelievable. But anyway, it was good. And like Auckland, of course, they were always the hard team to beat,
Yes.
and but we went through and pretty much cleaned them all up.
Nice.
Well, clean them up, but beat them all. But we were quite lucky that we had a whole lot of different skills.
Okay.
Different types of skills.
Yeah.
Whereas some of the other teams we played were just like their skill was their size.
Yeah. Especially those Auckland boys.
Well,
they're massive.
I'm Polynesian, but those were, when they come down from Auckland, they were really pollies. They were big pollies,
Big.
Yeah, man. Olsen Filipana size,
I know. And they put him in the halves.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I know. That's not even big. You're right.
That's not fair.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so, and then from then on, the representative football just kept coming.
Yeah, man.
Just like 17s, 19s,
Yes.
then into the Colts and the 23 side when I was 18. And went to Australia with Geordie Menzies and lots of other good players, Tony Cole, and there was lots of good players in that team and in that Colts side. And then the following year came back and it was like, let's have a go at this New Zealand team to play this Great Britain side,
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it was cool. I trained a lot then.
I bet.
Yeah, I just didn't want to miss that opportunity. It was time.
Oh, of course not.
No,
I'm going to talk about that a bit more later on.
Okay.
But I want to touch on that. Since 1969, not only did you make the schoolboy reps for the league, but you actually made a softball side for New Zealand as well.
Yeah.
So, very multi-talented here. You skipped out the softball, but I found that out. So,
yeah, that's right. We went up to, I'm pretty sure we went up to Masterton and played in a tournament up there. Because my very best friend, the one whose dad bought me the boots, he was a keen softballer.
Okay.
So his dad just roped me in to whatever Robin was doing. I was in there doing it as well,
You're one of those annoying people that are good at everything they do.
Unfortunately, I didn't realise I was. I just thought I was,
I think it's just a normal Kiwi kid thing, just play everything.
Yeah. And I just thought, oh, well, I'm better than some, but there's others that were heaps better than me, I thought.
Yeah.
But when it came down to it, like, it's how you develop and what you develop into,
Uh-huh.
Like I was quite fast for my size, but that changed over the years, of course. No, it's all good. Yeah,
man. So so 1972, after being selected for New Zealand under-17s for 2 years, you then got selected for Papua Nui Tigers Premier side.
Yes,
so
that's right.
You're only 17 years old. You're getting up into Prems, and we're talking about against men.
Yeah, men.
And you're like 17. But how did you find the step up and playing against proper adults?
Yeah, everybody was really keen to give me a welcoming because I was this the Swizz kid that they all wanted to stop, and so I put up with a lot of punishment.
Yeah, they rough you up a bit.
Yeah, they roughed me up, you know. And after a wee while, I got to learn, because back in those days, you know, the referees they allowed the game to run.
I love it. Good old days.
You know, and it was bordering on
thuggery.
Thuggery, you know. But hey, it didn't do us any harm, I don't think, you know. And it's the way it was.
It's just the way it
was, you know. One particular game we played against Marist. I'll just call this guy by the first name, but I tackled him, and I tackled him quite hard, and he got up and played the ball and smacked me, and I just smacked him straight back. And after the game, and then the game went on, but after the game he came up to me and shook my hand and he says, "Well done, boy." So that's the hardest I've been hit for a while. And that sort of gave me a bit of confidence, you know. And but I wasn't a little bloke, you know. No. Like I was only young in age, but I was fully matured, you know. Like, and that was always a problem for the opposition.
Imagine this running outside back, just steamrolling over them.
Yeah. And but I always played hard. I always played as hard as I could, you know. Like all the good players around that I know and of the same era, there was no real personal animosity. Okay. It was just play as hard as you can. Yeah. You know, and if it had to do something a wee bit extra, then do it, you know. But
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. So who were some of the big name players running around the comp when you sort of made your way into the Prems?
Into the Prems. People like Rodney Walker. Gary Clark was actually the coach.
He used to go off the museum.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. Yeah, and he's the one that spoke to Mum and said, "Look, Eddie needs to be up in this grade, you know. He's playing around the 17s, 19s. He's just wasting his time, you know." Right. So, and he said, I'll only play him half a game and play him on the wing. Right. Yeah, well, that lasted about 3 games. Yeah. And then it was like, I'm in the throw, you know. I'm right in the middle.
Right.
But there were lots of tough teams, good players around. Like, you know, there were people that I'm just trying to think of the ones that they were there. They weren't superstars, but they were good players. And really good. Honestly, the competition back then was really hot.
Oh, yeah.
Like every team had 4 superstars. Yeah. You know, and these other people, you know, but I get to know them and I end up working with a lot of them. Like, you know, Easton, we played them quite a few times, you know, like, you know, Bruce Dickinson, Terry Gilman, Bruce Murphy, Leon Pascal, Paul Radonovich. Like, these are Murray French. They're all Canterbury people through the grades, you know, and that's what most of the teams were like. Okay. A lot of the smaller clubs, say Addington, for example, you know, they weren't small. They were small compared to the big Hornby and Horswell and Papanui. They were huge clubs, but it was just, and everyone was very, very respectful. Yeah, that's what I liked about it. There was no crap, you know. Okay. You know, everybody, you respected your opposition, and you didn't throw stuff in their face. You could party all you like and celebrate in your room, but you don't do it in front of their face, because that's, to me, that's just not quite right.
Rubbing salt in the wounds.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, rub it right in the wounds, you know. Indeed. Exactly, yeah. So that was the introduction to Premier life, and then it was just from then on.
Just taking off, mate.
I know. It was this, yeah.
Well, you didn't muck around. You went all the way to the grand final in your first season against Marist Western Suburbs. So were you nervous for the big day, or were you just full of confidence?
No. I've been nervous. I used to suffer from nerves a lot.
Really?
Really, really. And I had some really good advice given to me about, I suppose, touching on sports psychology, but a simple build-up for every game, the same.
Yes.
That's me. And I just got it. And it was regimented. Like,
well, then you know it's coming, right?
You know it's coming. And even what I used to eat, you know, I used to have a good breakfast and then go out and muck around and do stuff. And about 11 o'clock, honey on crumpets.
You beauty.
Yeah. Oh, every day. Like, for years and years and years.
Plenty of good carbs in there.
Yeah, that's right. Plenty of sugars, going for it. But it was just something that just went through me, gave me some energy, I suppose. Yeah. But yeah, nerves are a part of every sports person's life, or for a lot of people, anxiety, because that's what it is. Yep. And it's controllable by breathing. So you just got to know about it. And I just don't think that people get the right information.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. So education is
Right.
is heaps for development.
Yeah.
Not practical, but actually common sense stuff.
Yeah.
And
Keep it simple.
we think sports psych. We've always battled the Australians.
Yes.
And that's where it's at because if on an animated note, you could say we buy our kids rattles. In Australia, they buy them flags.
Yeah.
Mate, I've got grandkids over there. They're waving flags when they're 8 months old.
Yep.
That's it, mate. And
Yep.
they grow up that day, that Australian day, biggest day of the country, but it's in them straight away.
Yeah.
Straight away. A lot of, and the flow on from that, I think, is that sports psychology, they're getting it all the way through from a real early life. This is my opinion. But here, we don't get it until we show some promise.
Yeah.
So we missed out in the early stages.
Yeah.
And I think that may be a
that
difference.
1% difference.
Well, 1%'s a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you've got a massive population, 25, 26 million versus 5 million,
That's right.
1%'s a lot.
Yeah, 1%. It's real heaps. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Right, so let's talk about that grand final. How did it all go? I think you scored a try. The game pretty much went your way. I think you gave it a bit of a hiding in the end. So.
Yeah, I scored a try in most of them. I think I scored 3 and 1.
Yeah.
It was just, we didn't think, and Mocky Bratton, I used to be marking Mocky, who, when I played the Test Rugby League, he was on the other wing, I was on one wing, and he's on the other. But he was, I don't know, but Mocky's probably 5, 8 years older than me.
Yeah.
So I really looked up to him, and he gave me no quarter. Like he that big black moustache coming in on me all the time.
Gotta love the moustaches back in those days.
Yeah. No, but he was a good bloke, and there were lots of other players because Maris used to buy the odd player as well, and they turn up with a good player, and they even stole like some of our players.
Yeah.
Like, I think Broady went there.
Yeah, he did.
One of my mates, Gary Ty, went there, and it was because we were neighbouring clubs too.
Okay.
Like, it wasn't actually seen as a transfer; it was just like neighbourhood stuff,
Hop on the fence.
Yeah, hop in the fence.
Play with the neighbours.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, brilliant, man. So 1973 was a carbon copy of 1972.
Yeah.
Papua wins another grand final, 22-17.
Yeah.
And you got the double that year.
Yeah, that's
two
right.
from two, not bad.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And that's when you did go, this time you made the New Zealand Colts in 73, like you said earlier.
Yep.
You went over to Queensland. So what's your memories of hopping over the ditch to Australia with the Colts?
Yeah, mate, I tell you, and once again, really overwhelmed by the people I was around, Like some of them were, like, I thought they were so much better than maybe I was,
Okay.
And that's just what I thought.
It's only natural, though.
Yeah. So Geordie Menzies is the coach, and he's a really nice bloke, and he took me aside and said, Eddie, you're here because you deserve to be here. Don't go undermining yourself,
Is that all you needed?
That's all I needed, and from then on, and hooked up with me mate, Lindsay Proctor.
Yes.
Nolan Tupai, because that was our little group, but there was a couple of coaches. Billy Johnson was there.
Wicked.
I'm just trying to think who there was a whole lot of young people coming through. A lot of them didn't go on, himself, I suppose, but it's all like, it was a great trip. We went over, we played out at Ipswich, and this is a bit of a character game. We played a night game.
Really?
A lightning storm, a lightning bolt hits the transformer and blows the lights out in the whole game. So, so all the teams go back into the changing room and wait for them to fix it.
Okay.
And I don't know how long it took, maybe a quarter of an hour or whatever it was.
Nice and cooled down by then.
Yeah, and then lights come on again, and out we went and finished it.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that was a bit of a story about Ipswich.
Yeah.
People say, "You been to Ipswich?" Yeah, I know Ipswich.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, but a lot of good times. Introduction to the policies of New Zealand Rugby League.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
We are. ambassadors of rugby league, but also the ambassadors of our country.
Yes.
So it was, this is what it's like. This is what we expect.
Yes.
So I can remember we had one guy in our team, Peter Gurnett.
Okay.
Yeah, and he always had really long hair. And they touched on him about cutting your hair, and he went, no, I'm not cutting my hair, mate. But he was a good player, so he played.
He got in.
Yeah.
Didn't have the long hair.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was good, yeah, 73, the Colts team. Yeah, really cool.
So cool, man.
Yeah.
So 1974, an absolutely massive year here. We'll kick off with yet another grand final, knocking over Linwood 18-8.
Yep.
What was the Linwood team like back in those days? Because they'd seem to sneak through to that grand final, and you got over the top of them again.
Oh, they're good players. They were the same as us, Like, I think when it came down to it, it was probably the difference might have been a team play against individuals.
Okay.
And I can't really remember a lot about those games, but they had some really good players like Wally Wilson.
Yeah.
My mate Robin Turner, Cliff Lenny,
Okay.
Paul Trussey was there,
Yes, Trussey.
Rex Dalzell. Like, it was just, they had Lester Wilson.
Plenty of names I recognise now.
And I tell you, they were really tough, and Murray Barker was there, and just keep coming. Like, in the early days, you could pick out the good players in the team, but when you get to a grand final, they all have to be watched.
Yeah, man,
they're all capable
Yeah.
of winning that game, So it's really quite cool,
You've got the chocolates to go. I think that's 3 in a row, 4 in a row at this point. Something like that.
Yeah,
Like 3 in a row at this
3 in a
stage.
row, yeah. That's
and then
right.
you're selected for the Kiwis. Like, come on, how good is that?
Oh,
Like,
mate, I tell you, I was just like partied really quite hard.
As you should.
As you should, yeah. It was, it blew me away, and everyone said, oh, we knew that, but I knew I had a chance, but I had to beat the guy that I replaced, a guy called Lenny Hall.
Okay.
And he was a speedster, a real speedster, but he wasn't very big, And I think it was about the time when both codes actually started thinking, we need more power than speed. You don't have to be the fastest man, but you need to be able to, have some running power.
Yeah.
And then they started using the wingers as forwards and stuff like that, And I fit the bill. So, and I went, and it was...
So how did you find out you got selected? Like, take us back to that moment.
Okay, so we had to hang by the phone. No mobiles in those days. Had to hang at home.
Can't go anywhere.
And they said, we're naming the team at whatever time it was, and just hung there. And then when it went, it was my heart just went. When the phone went, before I even answered it,
Didn't even know who it was.
Didn't even know who it was. It could have been the wrong number. But and they just said, "Oh, hey, congratulations, you've been selected."
Yes,
man. I tell you, and I was, I was really overwhelmed. And for myself, I dealt when I was younger. I dealt with a lot of crap on stuff inside myself, so I celebrated really hard.
Oh, good for you.
And that was I touched on before about my dad, but that was my motivator, and I was a controlled anger freak back then, I suppose. I had so much energy and focusedness and drive. I just had to focus it. Channel it into the right direction.
Yeah. And
found rugby league, which was a lot easier to do than softball.
Yeah.
Because I'm, being, physical. I didn't mind it. And it was quite good. Yeah,
That's good, isn't it?
Yeah, mate. It just made me. Cool. It just made me. And Mum, of course, she was the. Every player's parents are over the moon. And And Mum, she's quite. She's a famous. Supporter of Papanui, and there used to be half a dozen when we group of them, the ladies, and they were the loudest in the stand.
Oh, good.
They were really vocal. I think my godname's mum was one.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And just a couple of other, Grant Finley's mum.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but they were just vocal, and she was always there. And I learned a lot about things later on in life when she was quite sick.
Yeah.
And she told me lots of things. And one of the things, and I cried this time when she told me that one time he had to go to Wellington so we didn't get groceries that week. You know, and I went, oh my God, you know, like it's like, but at the time, you know, that was the decision she made, and I feel really bad about it, but I feel really happy that I went, because it might have been a tournament that I needed to go to, you know.
Yep.
But just things like that later on in life, you know, we just drew back to each other again, you know.
Doesn't it blow your minds when you realise what your parents do for you when you're a kid and you've just got no idea until you're one yourself?
Yeah, that's right.
Blows your mind, like what some parents will do for their kids' success.
Well, you have to. You got to give them an opportunity, you know. And I always thought that letting the kids have a go at everything. Yeah. But don't buy them the most expensive gear.
No, because their natural thing. And right, you're doing that.
That's right. You know, when you prove that you're going to be good, we'll buy you a good one. You know. I remember that with my son. He wanted to do tennis, so I just bought him a Warehouse tennis racket, and he said, "Oh," I said, "Hey man."
Yeah, I did the same with golf. Warehouse set. That's right. I got down to a 15 handicap. We're getting Cleveland's, you little beauty.
Yeah, that's right. You know, so hey, you got to support them what they do. You know, it's all good. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool, man. So you walk into camp. There's guys like Dennis Williams, Ken Sterling, Johnny Greengrass, another Cantab. Yeah. What's the feelings like when you get into camp?
Oh, mate, everyone's just full on. Like, we travelled up together, of course, and I'm new, but they obviously knew them. But lots of hugging, lots of, you know, great to meet you, welcome, you're in the team now,
nice.
Like, you know,
team bomb like straight away.
Big men too, like Doug Gailey and Don Mann, like Dwayne Mann's father. Like, he was a monster. You know, like this. And from then on, and I'll tell you who the manager was Travis.
Okay.
Yeah, and he was, I think about a year ago, he was the only sole surviving living let from the Kiwi 51s or something like that, you know. But anyway, it's like, but the feeling in those camps is great. And like, I dabble in a bit of coaching, and if we have got something big, I'll pull a mini camp. You know, we'll go and spend the night somewhere, and because what you do is you take the distractions away and let people focus on
what you're doing,
what's on the job at hand, the task at hand, and with all the people that are doing it at the same time. You know, I'm really without realising it when I was younger, we touched on a little bit about the mindset before, but I was doing sports psychology myself well before I even knew what it was. Okay, you know, so now if I do it for a team, I'm really onto it. I know exactly where they are, you know, and it works. And that's all international sides do it. You know, you've got to have those people together. When we played the test, we just got together, like, you know, 4 days before or something like that. Our budget wasn't big. No. You know, everything was done on a shoestring, you know, but we stayed in fairly nice places, and, you know, but then had to go and play Carlaw Park.
I was going to say, first test match, the Hello Turf of Carlaw Park in Auckland. It's a bit of a bog, usually a bit of a mud bath. What's it like? You got the win.
Yeah, you know? I know. It was the worst mud bath, worst I've ever played on it. Because I played up there a few times, you know, with the Canterbury team and that, and it was always okay, but this time it was the absolute worst.
Shit.
And I've got photos where everyone's just like got caked mud. They look like a whole lot of zombies or something. You couldn't tell, and it was full on. It was like, I think there were 2 or 3 full on team fisticuffs.
Oh, wicked.
Like, but. Of course, I'm at the wing. All I'm doing is watching my man. If he runs in, I am in. But he stayed out, so I'm out.
Call it a draw, mate.
But they were in there like it was full on. You know, like if you wanted to change the game, you did it with a hammer. You know, you'd send someone like Doug Gailey and then do something, or you know, it's just. But hey, it's the way the game was, and they had guys on their side doing the same, and in fact, one of the. I always remember that guy. He was a really nice guy. Colin Dixon. He was a African Negro. He was the only one in their team, but he was a hell of a nice bloke. Yeah. And he was hard ass.
Tough.
You know. Really tough, you know. Yeah, so, but I didn't mark him. I marked a guy called David Redfern.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and I can always remember this. I think they quoted me in one of the papers, and they asked me how it went, and I just said, "Well, my man didn't score. I'm happy with that, you know." But I think he scored in the second test, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was back down in Christchurch.
It was.
So you got to play in front of your home crowd. Like, is that a proud moment for you?
That was like running onto Carlo Park, and that test team was a real buzz.
First test.
Down here, in front of my home crowd, I tell. When I think about it now, the hairs on my neck stick up, you know, because it was just like I just had everybody behind me, and I wasn't only Cantab, you know, it was Greenie and Mocky.
Yep.
But my club, I could just about guarantee my whole club was there. They just. You know, they really got him behind
6,500 people there that day. I had a look at the stats. And, so it would have been a pretty sizable crowd there.
Yeah, that's right. Because the sand was as big as it was now.
Yeah. This was back in the day, remember? You know?
Exactly, you know. Yeah, it seems a long time ago.
It does.
You know, but it's and I thank it because it makes me remember and run through these things through my head again.
It's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, it's cool, you know, because... in everyday life, you don't get a chance to. You're as busy at what we're doing now.
It's just the past.
Yeah, it's just the past.
Back to life.
And people get on me and say, "Hey, you've never told me that." And I go, "No, you never asked me." You know, but I have done that. You know, and but I don't fly that flag. You know, like I'm. You know,
you're just Eddie Kerrigan.
Yeah, I'm just Eddie. You know, and or I'm Eddie and I do the gym, or Eddie and I do this. Like that's what I used to do. You know.
Yeah.
And but it was good fun, you know. I loved it, and I tried to put a bit back into it. With I became in the 80s. I became a staff coach for New Zealand Rugby League and helped them out on the camps.
Yes,
and that was really good because I like dealing with the adolescents, the young, the 17s and the 19s. Like their bodies are bulletproof.
Yeah.
You just got to get their mind
right.
You got to get their mind right. Yeah.
Stop looking at girls.
Yeah. Stop the distractions, you know. Yeah. I know, it's been good.
Oh, brilliant, man. So, unfortunately, the second and third test didn't go your way. And the third test was back up at Carla Port.
Yes, it was.
That's right.
Yeah, and we had our chances, you know, but the park was better, but it was slow. It was a slow track, you know. It was like, it was... It's hard to say when you scored, what actually caused it. Was it a brilliant attacking move, or did someone on defence
get stuck in the mud?
Get stuck in the mud.
A boot was stuck in.
I know. But anyway, it was still a proud moment.
Absolutely.
From there, and then about a week later, I played for the New Zealand Maoris against the Polly side.
So now, how does that work? Have you got Māori here?
No.
Because I put a photo up of that side.
Yes.
How did you qualify for the Māori side back then?
Well, I don't know what the criteria was then.
Because I was thinking of Samoan, and then a few people were like, I don't think there's many Māoris in this side.
I don't know if there was either. I think the whitest guy there.
Dave Sorensen,
yes, he was too. That's what I was trying to think of.
He's my kind of white. He's proper white.
That's right. But if you have a look at the names, there was people like Pesasua, and like there were lots of Polynesians. So because I came on board when I was young, and then sort of I was out a couple of years later. A lot of those guys came on then.
Okay.
You know, like and when that 76 side. Kurt and Dane were in that side, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah.
Legends.
I know. It's just amazing, you know.
So the cool thing about that is now you've played in. So there's a group within a group. So that you've made the Kiwis. There's 900 odd Kiwis now, but you're within a small collective of Kiwis who played for schoolboys. Like, 15s, 17s, 19s, Colts, Kiwis, and you could even throw a New Zealand Māori side, as a bonus.
A guy called Bob Bailey, who used to help run the camps for New Zealand Rugby League. He put me onto it, and it mentioned players. He mentioned players that made every possible New Zealand side possible, which 15s, 17s, 19s, Colts, and senior status, amazing. And what he did tell me was Steve Gurney. Okay. Steve Gurney was the last one before me.
Far out.
And there hasn't been too many.
That's a gap.
Because, so much now is that a lot of players don't start playing till they're a bit older.
True.
19. They've missed out on those earlier days.
Well, they might come over from rugby.
Well, that's that's right.
Like
they come from everywhere,
Yeah.
So that's pretty special.
That's cool, man.
That's pretty special. Like it's.
I'd be very curious to see that list of players who've actually done that.
I asked about it once when I was up in Auckland, and they said, "Oh, we don't know how we would find that because I if it was all on file." Yeah, you could find it, but
if we had Wikipedia 50 years ago.
Yeah, that's right.
Only.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Oh, it's incredible.
Yeah.
So you played the Poms. Was it not Great Britain when you played for New Zealand Māori side?
Yes. Yeah.
So how did that go?
Oh, we got beaten. We played at in Rotorua at I think it's called Arua Park.
That's their main.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yep.
And of course, the weather must have been crap the whole time.
Because the North Island.
It was like, honestly, the mud was that thick.
Oh, God.
You know what they did?
What?
They brought in truckloads and truckloads of sawdust.
Really?
And just covered it all. And in one of my scrapbook photos, like there's an action shot where there's all this stuff flying around.
Oh my God.
It's all sawdust.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and but that was quite a hard case, and it was. I can always remember that. I can always remember saying, "Okay, boys, you just got to pull your shirt down before you go out." And manager was rubbing, or the first aider was rubbing stuff on, rubbing mess on our chest, on our heart, all this, which is, hey, whatever it took in those days,
so funny.
We just went along with it,
Well, I love the old stories.
This is it's great.
Would you imagine that in the NRL now?
Oh,
they had mud and they just put sawdust down. Like, it would just be unthinkable.
Not like there was that much mud, then they put that much sawdust on it. When you set your boot, your whole boot sunk into the ground. Like, it was a pretty slow game.
Well, I can remember, I watched a lot of like Winfield Cup, Winfield Cup, like the 80s, early 82, 83, the Sydney Football Stadium, Parramatta and the Bulldogs and all them just covered in mud every game.
Right.
Peter Sterling, Brett Keddy, all of them just caked in mud. Those are the good old days.
I know. Yeah, and but they wouldn't allow that now.
No.
There's too much money involved, so the grounds have to be and the ground looked perfect the other day, didn't it? I played a lot of rugby league on that park, and it's never been as bad as Carlisle, but it's been pretty crappy.
Yeah,
especially the number 2, where we always. Number 1 was looked after, but number 2 was like, that was the bog.
Beautiful stadium there. I was right on the try line where Jermaine Osako scored.
Oh, really?
Half.
Oh, nice.
Right next to
right there. Oh, my God, yeah.
So, not great to see the other end, but we had a big screen, so that's all right. Yeah. But we got to see that try up close. That was pretty cool.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah. That's
cool.
That
was wonderful. It's just so good to be there. Get a test match to Christchurch. Right, so moving forward, 1975. Yes. Bit of a horror year for you. Smashing your knee to bits the first game of the season against Linwood.
Yes.
So what was that like to be sidelined for the first time after just blitzing it for the last few years?
I was in so much pain. I thought it was my hip.
Okay.
I couldn't move my whole leg. But X-rays and stuff like that said, no, you've done your knee. I've done the ligament and done this with my knuckle bone, with the knuckle joint, and scoured a crater out of the bottom bone, and that's where it just kept letting me down every time I tried to come back, because it wasn't hard enough. And as soon as the pressure went on, it just gouged it out again. And in the end, the surgeon said, or the guy that was looking after me said, it's going to take months. You need to
accept.
And which was a bugger really, because Geordie said to me, Eddie, if you're fit, you're coming to England with us. He said, if you can be fit in a month, I'll still take you because you get the last part of the. But no, I couldn't make it, And
that just shit you.
I can honestly remember I was in tears talking to him on the phone, saying, "Mate, I can't do it. My knees just won't let me do it." But that was a crap year, a really bad year, and at the time of when I buggered my knee, but then after, every time I tried to come back, boom. It happened again.
Oh.
I think 2 or 3 times, and I went, no, bite the bullet, get this right.
Yeah.
And I did, and then I just started to do pre-season training
Okay.
the season before.
Right,
You know.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So it's 1976. You come back. The Eddie Kerrigan machine's firing on all cylinders. You had one of the best seasons of your career. You're racking up 30 tries for Papanui in the Premiership, winning another grand final against Eastern Suburbs, and you picked up the record for most tries in a season, which I believe is still the record.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that was, and it wasn't. We had a really good side. You know, we were quite fortunate. And people used to say to me, "Oh, yeah, the team runs up the field and waits for you." I said, "No, there's none of that, mate. It's everyone for themselves." You know, and we'd get told off if we didn't score and we were close.
Yeah.
It was a massive year. I spent the whole the time leading up to that season full on training. Like, there's just one thing I wanted to do. I just wanted to get back in, you know.
Yeah.
And made sacrifices along the way, but achieved the sports goal of getting back in, and which was very good, you know, because a lot of the players were still in the team from 2 years before, so it was quite it was quite good getting back into them.
Getting back in the groove.
And I'll tell you a story about, we went out to Waipu Cove.
Waipu Cove?
Yeah,
right.
and training. And anyway, there's no pub up there or anything, you know, but we just had to train and do our stuff. And then we had between the players, we had this bit of a thing going. We were pairing people off, forwards against backs, you know, and putting $20 in, and you know, and I had to race Tony Cole. He beat me by the length of this room. I tell you what, God, he was fast. But the surprise one, John Greengrass, Warren Collicoat.
Yeah.
Now, Warren Collicoat took off, but took a while for Greenie's big strides to get it, because, you know, he's a great big long bloke. And he beat him, man. I tell you, that was
epic.
That was great. You know, and that's one of the things I always remember about that camp. You know, those running races. And hey, I didn't win, but it doesn't matter, mate. I couldn't believe how fast that guy could run.
Over 100 metres, he's probably a lot faster.
I know. You know, and then I saw him one at Greymouth, and he says, "See that hill, that track going up the hill?" He said, "That's my training track." I'm going, "Oh, yeah, okay."
Never mind.
That's why you're a co-star. But tough, you know. Yeah, so
It's so cool, man.
I know.
Great stories.
Cool. Yeah.
So also 76 was when you got named in New Zealand 13 to take on a New South Wales countryside. So what's it like having a taste against the Aussie talent? You know, for New Zealand.
Well, it was like NRL.
Okay.
It was. They just came over. They were really good.
Yeah.
I think they beat us, and
they beat us well.
But you know, like, they had quite a few name players.
Right.
You know, like, we had name players as well, but I think we were the odd year where they were going to put a New Zealand side together, give us some games.
Yep.
Just to keep everybody in touch with the international level, and then move on.
That's good,
and that's what happens, you know. So it was quite good. And Ron Ackland coached the side.
Okay.
Yeah, and he was tough.
Oh, yeah.
He's a tough man.
Put you through your paces.
Oh yeah. Like, you know, when we stayed at the Cove, man, 6 o'clock, get up, like the army, go for a run down the beach, come back, have some breakfast, go to your room and have a rest. You know, 10 o'clock. Next session starts. Right up.
Meanwhile, you're asleep.
I know. Yeah. Awesome. So no, that was cool. That was really good.
Very cool. Very cool. So 77, another premiership for Papanui. I'm running out of fingers to count them on. Defeating Eastern Suburbs 13-9. And then you went back over to Australia with
what year was that? What year was that one?
77.
77.
To go play the AMCO Cup.
Oh yeah, that's
right. Redcliffe Dolphins.
That's right. You know, I remember that. That was, and that was good because Winfield Cup, or AMCO Cup, as it was then, was on the TV.
Yeah.
You know, and it was like, hey, we're off to the big smoke. You know, off to the big game.
Yeah.
And it was. You know, we played at the old Lang Park, which I don't know, is the old Lang Park the new Suncorp? Is that on the same?
I think so.
I think it is too. You know, but anyway, it was more like our stadium here, our old stadium. It was like that, just, you know, a grandstand, then a hill round it, you know, sort of thing.
Good old days.
But I remember that Johnny Sattler played.
Wow.
You know, and he was like, wow.
He's like the legend.
Yeah, that's
He's
right.
South Sydney legend, right? Yeah, crazy.
I know, but I just thought that I don't want to run near him.
No.
Yeah, that wasn't my job. I was out the backs.
He's tough. He's as tough as they come.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but that experience was really cool. Obviously, the results make things a lot better, but just experiencing it is enough sometimes to grow.
Yeah,
and that's what we're into.
Yeah.
People just developing and growing and becoming better footballers and better coaches, mentors, but overall just becoming better people.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, it's all good.
So it was Canterbury and Auckland were the two sides.
Yeah, that's right. The two top New Zealand sides used to go. Auckland always went.
Always.
And then it was like either Canterbury or Wellington.
Yeah. Waikato, my old stomping ground, not a looking.
No, I don't even know if they had a Waikato side then.
No, probably not.
Probably not,
Not. I couldn't tell you for sure, but probably not.
Yeah. Well, they didn't have they didn't have anything up near Nelson. It was the West Coast.
Yep.
There was nothing down Southland, really. West Coast, Canterbury, Wellington.
Is it a Northland sort of side?
No, I can't remember because I got to know Norm Berryman when I worked for Touch because he used to run Touch up there.
Yep.
But they do play league up there, but it wasn't exposed like that, In fact, I'm still starting to think there was only about 5 provincial teams,
Right, just the main cities.
And there might have been a central one, maybe, that was based around Palmy, Taranaki.
Maybe Waikato got sucked into that.
Maybe into that,
I'm going to have to do some research on that, I think.
Yeah, but that was quite funny too, yeah. Every time you prick a memory, I have a bit of a giggle,
Well, I tell you what, I know when I had Brian Langton on, he... in the 60s, went up to Waikato to play Waikato.
Oh, did he?
Yes, and they played in Huntly.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Where Tawa Nico's from. So they may have had a side.
I remember going to Huntly.
Yeah.
But, I suppose in those days I didn't really know why Hamilton or Huntly. And I've been to camps at Narrawahia.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, that's a league town through and through.
Yeah, that's all good. Is that an army camp there, next army camp?
They used to have the army camp.
Yeah, well, that's where that's where we went for the camps.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was that was quite cool,
Yeah, there's an army camp between Narrawahia and Taupiri, the two little towns, and it's along the big straight there.
That's right, yeah. Oh, well, so there you go.
That's my old stomping ground.
Yeah, is it?
Yeah.
Never know, yeah.
But I'm a Cantab now.
Yeah, good one. Yeah, one eye.
One-eyed Cantab now.
Yeah. Cool.
Right, 1978, an amazingly close grand final between Papanui and Sydenham.
Yep.
And apparently you said it's one of the best, if not the best, club games of your career.
Yep.
When you took them down 8-5 in the decider. So why was it so significant?
Well, one of the things was that the coach of Sydenham, which was Gary Clark, used to coach at Papanui.
Yes.
Went over to Sydenham. He attracted a lot of other really good players, including David Field, Bruce Dickinson from Eastern Suburbs, Peter Sturgeon from Papanui, Peter Mustin, who used to play he was a prop from Christchurch Rugby. Okay, so I think Kerry Corcoran was the hooker, Stewie Hogg was one of the back men. But anyway, they had this formidable scrum.
Okay.
Like when scrums were real scrums.
Proper scrums.
Yeah. And you couldn't get the ball. Like they... Other teams just couldn't get the ball, and we couldn't get the ball. So our coach at the time, Trevor Bisman, just said, right, we're going to, what was that, 7-8? No, it might have been Rodney. I didn't. But anyway, he said, we're only going to get a third of the ball. So we have to win with a third of the ball, which means we can't afford any errors. And everybody's got to make 30 tackles.
Okay. Not bad.
It's not bad. And like some of them did. Some of them top 30. And back then, and they were really our workhorses, like our little halfbacks, our hookers, our second rows. They just tackle. And we were quite lucky that some of the players they were able to offload.
Okay.
But quite a few of them were just ball tuckers. They just tucked the ball under and
make those meters.
Yeah, you make those meters,
That's right.
So, we sort of, that wasn't a danger for us, the one-offs. But as soon as they start chucking the ball around, that moves the defence line around a wee bit, and that's when the holes usually appear.
Yeah, absolutely.
But no, it was a really, really tight game. We were, and I can remember because I'm really good friends with Bruce Dickinson, and I can remember afterwards having a beer with him and just going, mate, that's the hardest ever. I've played, like club. He says same.
Probably the closest grand final you played in.
That's right. I should mention the rugby one I was involved with as well.
Okay, yeah.
I helped in '95 a rugby like Burnside here said, "Oh, come and help me coach this Colt side," and I was full on. I just got a whole lot of coaching qualifications from over the ditch,
Okay.
and I said, "Yep." And sports psych was one of them, and I said, "Yeah, I'll give it a go." And we're the same. We pulled a team that only played rugby to drink beer. That was their mentality, these boys, So we got away. We same old thing. Got through halfway through the season, and then suddenly hit our straps. Everybody just hit the straps for some reason. Maybe it took a while for the mission to get through, and we went through the whole second round unbeaten.
Unbelievable.
So for a team that was like second to last, we ended up in the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
And we won that first one, and then we won the second one, and so we ended up playing Lincoln College in the final at Lancaster Park, and in the last club game they beat us 28-0.
Okay.
So they're thinking, who are these guys, But we were ready, and beat them like a similar sort of margin, like 8-6 or whatever it was, and just defend. Like it was really cool, But for those young guys, showing them something that's possible that they thought was impossible, changed lives.
That's so incredible.
Changed lives, yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It absolutely is.
And I'm sure everybody does it, but everybody just has their own little personal group of mentors, mentoring clients that you look after, and it's like, I just think I like dealing with young people, get them back on the track.
Yeah.
They
helps when you got a few Kiwi caps behind you to look up to.
Well, that's right,
That's the thing, you got the runs on the board.
That's right. Yeah. They can't take that away,
No,
they could probably say I'm out of touch a wee bit, but maybe not.
We're all big kids.
That's right, yeah.
So, 1979, you actually decided to make the move to Australia, where you ended up playing for a side in Cairns, and you went on to win another premiership. That's all you've known in your career.
Yeah.
So, firstly, why Australia now, and why not sooner?
Okay. Well, there was always a big exodus of New Zealand players travelling over to Australia.
Okay.
I always thought, like, the opportunities for players now are abundant.
Yes.
Back then, it wasn't, because we hadn't proved ourselves. They weren't looking over here.
Okay.
They were looking at our All Blacks, and they were looking at players that were proven.
Right.
So Bruce and I decided that we'd go to Australia. We were going to go to England.
Right.
That's because back in that year, Perth was the holiday launch pad, the cheapest place to buy fares to anywhere in the world.
Okay.
So we were heading to Perth.
Right.
But we got to the East Coast and settled in there with some people we know there, and then thought, we should actually, while we're here, we should actually see Australia. So we drove up the coast from Sydney to Cairns.
That's a fair drive.
Yeah, it took us like, it might have taken us a month or 3 weeks or a month. Because we weren't working, we just, hey, nice place, we'll just stay here for a wee bit. Yeah. And, but when we were getting up there, we were running out a bit of money, and I said, we should have a game. They'll probably pay for you up here.
Right.
And so we checked that out, went and saw a game, and decided to play for Brothers.
Yes.
And one of the main reasons, they had a club rooms.
Right.
And all the other teams operated out of hotels.
Okay.
So we fronted up, said, we're from New Zealand, we wouldn't want a club game, a game. Oh, you played before? You don't know, we had to play a bit, played a bit.
Kiwi test match.
I know, and Dickie was too. He was a test player as well, And so we go along to third grade training. They're playing touch. And,
come on.
And so we're sitting on the bench, and then I think I got 10 minutes, and Bruce might have got 5. Well, next week we're in the team.
That's all I needed.
Yeah, and of course, what happens is all the grades of those two clubs play at the same parks. So from the 17s, 19s, all the way out to Prems, the same clubs play.
Full club day.
So. Yeah. One of the reasons being is that the premier coach gets to have a look at these other players in the younger grades.
Yes.
And so after the game, we'd won the game that we were playing in, and we're sitting there, and we used to have this great big esky, and they had beer, soft drink, whatever you want in there, you know. And I'm thinking, right, couple of coldies would be good now.
Yep.
And then he shows up and goes, "You two here, no drinking. You're on the bench for me." So we sat on the bench. We got on. We did some damage.
Yep.
Then we're in the team.
Unbelievable.
In the team. And I've been back to Cairns. My daughter lives there, and I've met up with a few of the old guys. And the guy that I displaced, like, he's okay now, but back then he hated me.
He was a bit salty.
Yeah, he was salty. This new boy just came along, you know.
It was like you just come out of nowhere. You didn't even come through the club.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And you played under a fake name, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
What's
that's
that
right.
all about?
Yeah, well, even back in those days, just to curb the tide going to Australia, all the current Kiwis had transfer fees.
Yes.
Ours were 27,000.
Bloody hell.
That's a lot of money.
Yep.
You know, so... And we wanted to we didn't want to, we weren't going to play over there. We just want to have a game and then move on, you know.
Yeah,
so I played under Eddie Kerridge and my mate played under Bruce Dixon. And so we were just mucking around and doing it. And of course, and we got paid for winning, you know. And back in those days, it was quite good. I think it was about $60 a win or something,
I'll take that, yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, but they put the money straight into a bank account for you, you know, and it's all good. And I didn't have one, so I had to open up an account. So I stayed the whole season. Bruce left early because he had a job back here in New Zealand that he didn't want to lose. So I stayed and played the final, which we won 22-0.
Nice.
And during the game, their star winger crossed the line, but I picked him up and threw him over the dead ball line. It was massive. It was like, you know. But anyway, so when it was time to leave Cairns, I went to get the money out of the bank, and because there's a wee bit in there, and they wanted some identification, and I couldn't produce it.
You couldn't find your Eddie Kerridge. Oh, gee, how good!
And funny enough, it's my cousin. You know, I've got cousins who that's their name, Kerridge.
Oh,
so if they watch this, guys, you'll be laughing about this. You know?
That's amazing.
Yeah, and so in the end, I had to come clean. Bring down the club president with the bank manager, and I came clean. Just said, "Look, this is what we're doing.
Yeah,
you know, we're not up to anything. We're just having fun, and you know." And so they said, "Oh, yeah," and then they agreed. They paid me out.
Simple times. And then you could do that.
Went away.
Now you'd be in jail.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's right. I can do it now because there's no records.
Oh, that's great. Oh, that's so good. Oh, that's hilarious.
Funny, yeah, but that was a bit of a funny thing. But that was a good time. It was really good. Stan Williams was the coach, and in Cairns, the main rugby league park is called the Stan Williams Park.
Okay.
He's an iconic legend as well. And the year after we came home, that must have been an 80, because we came home to have a family and stuff like that. And the player of the day got a trip around New Zealand.
Okay.
And it was this guy, Buff. He was in the team.
Right.
So he ends up in Christchurch trying to hunt me down.
Really?
Or trying to hunt us both down.
Okay.
But pretty hard when you don't know their names, you know.
I'm looking for Eddie Kerridge. Where is he?
I know. So he ends up at the Papanui public bar.
Okay.
And where all the Papanui Rugby League photos are on the wall, you know.
Right.
And he's asking people, "You know Eddie Kerridge?" "No, we don't know anybody like that." And then one guy says, "Come over here." And he pointed to the photo and says, "Is that him?"
Yeah.
He said, "That's him." So next thing I know, he's knocking on my mother's door, but I wasn't home.
Okay.
Yeah, so I missed him. And when he went back and told his dad said, "I knew there was something up with those boys." He said, "Those boys just come out of nowhere and they were flying." You know, he says, I knew they'd played.
Couple of internationals in a grade 3 team or whatever.
I know, my God, but it was fun. It was good
cool.
experience, and then, as I said, then we come home, and then I went back to Western Australia the following year.
Okay,
there's no football over there. That's all AFL,
right? And
we were up in the mines, so there was nothing really going except playing cards and bottles, you know. But. And then when I came back, and just bought a house and family and just started back to Papanui, coaching, helping them out. I've never had any success with a premier team.
Okay.
But the people that I've coached, I like to think that I've had an impact on them, and they are better people for it, you know.
Brilliant.
I'm sure they are.
I'm sure.
I'm sure they'd tell me if they weren't, you know.
So when did you decide to hang up the boots? And what was that decision like in your mind?
Oh, that took about a year and a half.
Yeah.
You know, about retired, but all the boots were always in the boot.
Right.
The boot of my car.
Yeah.
So when they were short, Eddie. Oh, really? Oh. You know, and not in premiers, of course, but for lower grades like the Premier Bs or the Presidents or something. In the end, I just went, hey, no more. You know, like I smashed my knee, knee again playing Presidents. Unmarked, just turned around, boom, down I went. You know, when that happens, you know, this is time.
It's time to give up, mate.
Yeah, and I gave up. I retired when I was like 28. So
that's early.
But I've been through I've been through the ringer.
Yeah.
And the thing I was worried about was not being able to run around with my kids,
right?
You know, and play ball and stuff like that. You know, so I stopped playing. And just sort of become a overweight coach, you know.
It's a pretty common trend. You know?
That's right. Well, everything's still the same except the activity, except the training.
Nice not having to train.
I know. Yeah, it's good though.
So, but you did get into all the coaching, you know, and kept close to the game.
Yep.
And what are some of the trials and tribulations of coaching?
Mate.
I bet there's loads.
You ask any coach, and they're going to say, "You're not only the coach, you're the counsellor, their banker,
you're their dad,
everything." You know, and the thing is that that's only one person, and there's a group of them. So you know, to deal with, and that's where a lot of coaches probably find it a bit difficult, is knowing how to put something in the middle so it pulls everybody in.
Yeah.
You know, obviously the common goal is the result, but it can't only be result. It has to be
picture.
Performance.
Yes.
Because if you concentrate on the result, you don't get it. You get a bit drop-lipped about it, you know.
Right.
But if you concentrate on performance and you try your best, can't do anything better than that.
Well, that's right.
You can't do it. And if everybody performs, you'll get the result.
Yeah.
You know, it'll come, you know, but so it's all result, but performance-based. But, yeah, individuals, you know, I've had, when I coached, I'm the usual sort of coach. I like them in at halftime, a curtain raiser, and just take your time and no rushing. But I've got one guy, I let him come at, you know, quarter of an hour to go, 20 minutes to go. He'd come into the sheds, fully changed, because he just couldn't. He's just
couldn't
too much anxiety. Just like really. And he was one of our big guys. I said, mate, you just turn up. And I'd tell the team, this is what's happening with this guy.
Yep.
So I'm not favouring him. This is how we're getting the best out of him.
Yeah.
And you guys want the best out of him, don't you? They go, yeah.
Yeah, we want it.
Yeah, we want it. We want it,
All
you know.
right,
Yeah. So you know.
It's cool that you do that. It's like man management.
It is. It's exactly what it is, David. You know, and the teams now, especially at the elite level, it's just management skills.
Yeah.
You know, you've got enough you've got enough good people around you to do all the other stuff. You know, you got your conditioning coaches and your skills and your defences, and you got all that going on. You just have to make sure. But you know, the head coach has to know what's going on.
Yeah. But
he needs to know how to manage it also. And then all those little wee things in between, they're the hard ones. And I'm sure every coach has got a story about that. And I coached a lot of women's sport as well.
Oh, cool.
And yep, they're the same.
Yep. I reckon you just got to listen. You know?
Yeah, that's
just
the way.
listen.
The listening coach.
Yeah.
You know, and as you say before, you know, the positivity thing, like no negativity. And I've even had one of my players turn up to a tournament, one boot. Okay, and like full on tears. Hey, don't worry about it. We can beat this. You know, like just get over it. We'll just go and buy another one.
Yeah,
but we'll have to buy two.
Yeah, we'll buy you some boots.
Yeah, you know, and then hey, it's easy fixed. Don't worry about it.
Yep.
You know, don't let that distract you from. You know, when you go to tournaments, you put in too much time.
Yeah.
To let it go for something really stupid. You know, so it's good though.
So do you find coaching now that you're a coach, like you've been a coach in more of a modern era, what was it like when you were being coached? Was it just one size fits all, like a bit more stern, strict, like
Pretty much.
man management wasn't a thing, like you just do what you're bloody told, you know?
Sergeant major coaches, they were the ones. They just screamed at you, man. And some people, you know, they couldn't relate to that.
Okay.
So that might have cost some players any opportunity they had because they thought, oh, I don't like this.
Right.
You know, but I was lucky. I had good coaches, you know, most of the time. You know, got a few rowdy ones, but that's okay. It didn't last that long.
Yeah.
And the more you play, the more knowledge you get. You're assessed. You know, you're keeping yourself. So you know how to get over these hurdles yourself, you know. Yeah, he won't get on my back. I just got to keep running.
Yep.
You know, you get to learn these things. You know,
Keep running, Eddie.
Keep running. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Brilliant,
Yeah.
man. All right. So when you look back at your career, is there any one moment or game that stands out above the rest?
Yeah, mate. I tell you what, running on to the showgrounds in those days.
Yep.
My test, that second test.
That's the one.
That's the one. That's the one. And even the first one in Auckland was great because that was a massive crowd up there.
Yeah.
But because it was home based, and Jordan Ricky would have felt the same.
Oh, for sure.
On Sunday, you know, and anybody else who plays in front of their home crowd, mate, I tell you, there's nothing.
He got his debut at home. How good is that?
I know. Well,
Not bad.
That's fantastic. That's absolutely fantastic. You know. So but that's my international, you know, favorite. And
what's your club?
That final,
that final,
mate. I tell you what, you know, when I think about it, I just get this feeling.
Cool.
You know, I feel like I'm there again, you know, but I'm not.
6 grand finals for Papanui.
Yeah,
pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
That's amazing.
It's pretty good, you know.
So cool.
I can remember once, maybe in the 90s, maybe the early 2000s, when the Papanui did win a final, and I was back at the club rooms, and the premiers had them hanging around their neck, which is great, you know.
Yeah.
It was all good. And I said, "Oh, congratulations!" And just one of the guys said to me, "Yep, really good, but you old guys wouldn't know what it's about, would you?"
I think you might be.
I says, I've got 6 of them. What? I've got 6. And then he went off and told someone. They said, "Oh yeah,
Do you know who that is?"
Yeah, he's one of us. You know? But hey, it's good for everybody, you know.
Yeah.
And I like seeing, you know, as I said, we had a really good team back in the 70s, which pretty much helped kill the competition for a while because we were, you know. It's like having one best team and all the others, you know. So we were quite lucky that we were like that then.
Amazing dynasty.
Yeah, it was, man. And every other player, and I still bang into them, like, you know, they're still around.
Yeah.
But they're into whatever they're doing now, and it's really good. And you know, you might bang into someone on Sunday because it's going to be
good.
Yeah, be really good, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I can't wait.
But yeah, well, Tracy doesn't usually come, but Lester Wilson's always there, and Wally, of course, and but I don't see too many of the younger Kiwis there. You know, it's just a different generation.
Yeah,
I think I'm the youngest.
Okay,
which makes it really sad.
Oh my God.
Because I'm 70.
Brilliant. Just still shitting yellow, mate.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, just a youngie. I'm just a youngie, yeah, I know.
Okay, right, let's finish with a few fun questions I ask everyone. So, what NRL team do you support?
Do I support?
Yeah, or do you just watch league in general?
No. I usually watch teams, the good coaches.
Okay.
So, the grand final this year and last year, I picked them miles out. You know, like everyone can. It's easy. But I watch the teams that have got good coaches.
Okay.
Sometimes the coaches do good.
Yeah.
Sometimes they make mistakes.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, sometimes they have a shocker year.
Yeah, that's right. You know. So, but I've always been like a Melbourne man and a Brisbane man.
Nice.
And like, you know, Broncos.
I think they'll be back next year.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope Michael Maguire. I like him.
into shape.
I like him.
Yeah.
You know, there's no mucking around.
No. They'll be right. They've got a great roster. There's no reason why you can't get them back up there.
Yeah, that's right. You know.
Yeah.
But I don't know what their rosters looks like. I haven't seen it, but it's like hey,
it's stacked.
Yeah, it's stacked. Well, that's good because Matt Madge, he's done pretty good with an average type of roster.
Yeah, I mean, he had the
but,
Tigers, and he couldn't get them going, but I don't think anyone would have got that team going, to be honest.
Yeah, well, it's a bit of a shame, really, because back in the day, I was a Balmain man.
Yeah.
When the big guy used to play. And,
Yeah, Gary Freeman and all of them.
Yeah, Freeman.
Gary Jack.
Yeah,
Cernan,
that's right.
Benny Elias.
Benny Elias, that's it, yeah. God, and the big buff Roach.
Oh, Blocker Roach. Love it, I'll block it.
I know, So if I remember him, I'd remind him and say, man, I used to love watching you.
Yeah.
He's just no nonsense.
So good, eh?
No, yeah. It's good.
Good days of rugby league. All right, man. So what's your favourite TV show or series of all time?
Okay, I'm into the science fantasy. I'm into Game of Thrones.
Yes. Great show.
Dragon now. That's
House of Dragons.
House of Dragons. Yeah. I'm into that sort of stuff.
Yep.
I don't do dramas.
No.
Bit of action. I like a bit of action, a bit of
Cool.
a bit of a thriller is good, quite good as well.
Sons of Anarchy or Sopranos or
No.
anything like that? No.
Yeah, I watched Sopranos.
Yeah.
I thought the Son of Anarchy, it's. Yeah, not quite me, quite me. But Sopranos was quite good. I like the gangster type
It's
movies.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
I quite enjoy The Godfather and all of that stuff.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, it's just great, So,
Oh, brilliant.
but I don't watch a lot of TV.
No, most people don't these days.
My personal opinion is that a lot of it's negative.
Yeah.
And then I can just pick out what I watch. I watch sport.
Yeah.
I watch a few movies, a lot of what I like David Attenborough. Those natural.
Those were the days.
Nature stories.
Remember growing up with Our World? That was a TV show when I was a little bit. We watched it every week.
I still watch him probably 2 or 3 times a week. He's on late because I was, at night, and all the good stuff's off. So, what David up to? Oh yeah, the animal world is fantastic. It's a shame that it's sliding with the whole planet, it's just affecting everybody,
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is, but anyway, it's good though.
All right, last question, man. If you could only eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Thai.
You love Thai?
I love Thai food, mate.
Yeah, man.
I love it, from the soups to the curries to the, to the sauces they put it, like the peanut sauce.
Yep.
I try not to eat a lot of rice, but vegetables I love, So you put all that together, mate.
It's Thai.
Yeah, that's Thai. That's right. It's great. I love it.
A very popular choice on this podcast.
Is it?
Yes. Yeah,
good.
Quite a few. I think Malcolm Hum, he's a Thai man as well.
Is he really? That's good to know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Loves his Thai. So, I'm a ribs man. Give me pork ribs. That would be my last meal. Absolutely.
Do you go to Smoking Joe's or?
I'm a Fitz to Sports Bar.
Of course. Yeah, obviously.
They have the best ribs in Christchurch.
Oh, do they?
In my opinion, they're unbelievable.
Wow.
I can't stop eating them. And that's why I have to run 10K a day.
Is that right? Oh, gee. Yeah, well, I can't afford to start eating.
No, you can't afford to start eating.
Start eating them because I can't run 10K a day.
Oh, no, mate. They're bloody fantastic.
No, it's all good, mate.
Anyway, man, thank you so much for coming over, giving me your time. It's been an absolute blast, grinning the whole time. Love your stories.
Great.
Mate.
My pleasure, Dave. Thanks very much, and I hope people get a lot of smiles out of it as well,
I hope so too, man.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, man. Right, thanks everyone for watching at home. I've been your host, Dave. This has been the incredible Eddie Kerrigan. We've been back in the day, and we'll see you next time for Kickoff.
Bye.
Full time.